Hey guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Aveda Go. All right, hey guys, welcome and thanks so much for joining me today on the Senior Living Mastermind. I'm joined today with Cyndi Pressler. Cyndi is the owner and operator of Care Home Consulting. Cyndi, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing great and happy to be here. Glad we finally connected, Mitch.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So we met last year at the Torch Conference. I think that was September, and we were both speaking there. So it was really, really cool to meet you there and meet all the people there. What's been going on in your life? How's things going?
Well, I'll tell you in a nutshell. If you've ever started a business, you know exactly what's been going on.
Yeah.
Learning curves. But it's exciting. It's an exciting venture, an opportunity to be in business still while there's opportunity for small business, right?
Yeah, for sure. You know, people say it a lot that this is probably, I think every generation says it, but I think it's still true. This is the best time to be starting a business, running a business. There's so many opportunities with, everything that's happening with AI. It's just amazing the stuff that's happening, right?
You're right, exactly. And I really love telling young people. One of my grandsons recently said to me, I'm just in college because mom said go because I don't know what else to do. And there's not really a whole lot of opportunity. And he was all, glum. And I just looked at him and I said, Ian, you come from a long line of creative thinkers. And if any of us had ever thought about that, you wouldn't even be alive.
That's right.
He looked at me and he
Yeah.
said, you think there's opportunity out there? And I said, there's so much opportunity for you young people. It is amazing. So we need to have more conversations because it's right. There's so much. We need young people. We need people of all ages, but especially these young people. We need these young people to come up, and they're smart, they're bright, they're creative, they're different than our generation, but that doesn't mean that it's not full of talent and opportunity. So
Exactly. Well said. Well said. Well, Cyndi, tell me a little bit about you and how you found your way into senior living and assisted living. How'd that even happen? How are you where you are today?
Somebody brighter and smarter than me kept opening the right doors, and I kept saying, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say, my college degree is in such and such, but I'm working in such and such. And it's pretty common, I think. I went to college. My dream was to be, first of all, I wasn't mature enough to be that far away from home. My mother was right, but I already got my way. But so what 17, 18, 19-year-old really knows what they want to do for real. I went to college to be a writer. I wanted to never get married, never have children, and I wanted to travel the world and be a linguist. I'm good at language, right?
Yeah.
I ended up dropping out of school, getting married, had 4 children, 23 grandchildren so far. 3 of those are great-grandchildren. And that was a long life of, okay, how am I going to feed these kids and take care of them? And so when I was 17, I worked part-time at the local nursing home to put away money for school. And then in college, I did a variety of things. I worked on the work-study program and ended up in the president of the college office and did a lot of conference presentation material work and putting together things for teacher conferences, professor conferences and things like that. So the point to all of this is I can look back in my resume and in my work career history, and I can absolutely see a long pattern of a progressive transition into exactly where I needed to be. I didn't ever finish that college degree, to my regret, but through a lot of opportunity, I was able to get that college level information training and expertise through the doors that open. And I'm of that generation, so a lot of the industry at the time was beginning to be senior focused. So I ended up working at the local area agency on aging. Went in on a Friday afternoon for an interview, and they said, can you do this, this, and this? And I said, absolutely, I can. And that Friday night, I called my husband at work and said, I need to come into the office this weekend. Y'all need to teach me how to do, what were those old spreadsheets we used to do before? They were DOS based. My gosh. And I said, I have to know how to do those by Monday because I'm going to be doing spreadsheets for reporting from the county to the Texas Department on Aging. And he said,
I love that.
Yay. Okay. So that's how I got started. And
I love that.
from there, I progressed up through, local area agency on aging county work up through, and learned a lot about federal regs in Texas and the older Americans. That all it was really a time of education for me, and lots of great grant writing for nonprofit. I mean, got my social work associate, certification, all kinds of great opportunities. And they were all, I didn't know it. I did not know it, Mitch, but they were all building blocks for where I am today.
For sure.
Yeah, is an amazing journey. Lots of great opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. And it's perfect, right, to use those years of wisdom and work to where you are now, because now you're helping people start care homes, start assisted living facilities, get out of hot water sometimes.
Exactly.
If I was, because a lot of people that are going to listen to this are in that seat of like, should I, they want to get into senior care, a residential care home, or, maybe they're an investor. What's some good sort of the fundamental things that you would tell someone who's either just started or thinking about getting into assisted living?
If you call me and you're an investor, I say the same thing in a flip order. If you're an investor, you call me and you want to get into this business, you're looking at dollars, and your questions are different than that person that wants to get into the business for other reasons. And so my comment to the investor type realtors, people like that, I know that you already know that this is a potentially lucrative business, so I know why you're interested in it. But you also need to learn the nuance of the business and the reason the business is important to the seniors of Texas and their families. You need to figure out what the heart of this business is. So that's where you're going to need consulting and help the most, believe it or not. And then to the other person that is that caregiver, that nurse, that longtime caregiver, that family member, whatever they might be, just a regular person like me, maybe with some professional healthcare experience, maybe not. They're coming into it usually because they have a heart for seniors. They've had a family member that needed help, and now they want to be able to impact from that experience. Or they're just that caregiver that's had a heart and they want to be able to do this and be their own business owner. So my advice to them, we got to talk numbers. You've got the other part down, but you don't understand business. So the focus for you is going to be learning about business, because the end of the day, Mitch, it's a heart service business, but it is a business.
For sure.
It's not a hobby. People are not a hobby. People are a serious matter. And the lives of people that you take into your care is a serious matter.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. So with those two different audiences, investors, it's like, hey, we know you get it, but you got to figure out why, you even want to be over here and sort of live that a little bit. And then for those folks that already get it, it's like, hey, there's the whole business side of this thing that you really need to get your head wrapped around, or you're going to get yourself in hot water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And both are going to be disappointed and walk away when they could be the very perfect person to be the success mentor model for this, right? So we want to impact the industry with, we want to educate, we want to enhance and enrich and elevate people with their motivation and their dream of what they want, to refine it to be what it needs to be so they can succeed and they can contribute and they can profit.
For sure. For sure. Cyndi, who would you say is, like, when you look at care home consulting and the services that you guys do for folks, who is your ideal client? Like who could you step in and help just immediately?
That person that has kind of an understanding of business. No, let me retract all that. The person that's smart enough to know that they need to listen. And that's smart enough to know that with all the knowledge I have, Mitch, I need a business coach. I'm sometimes more than once a month, but I can afford once a month. And then I need accountability. So there are some very, what do we call those things? Those subjective things that, skills and things that you need to be willing to envelop and embrace. They may not seem like the stepping stone that's going to make you financially successful if that's your ultimate goal, but they absolutely are the foundation of learning and growing and becoming. As this 18 months of being in business, all I've figured out is that I've got one more question. I have one more question. Can you just hold on? Because I've got one more thing I need to ask and learn. And it's like that every day.
Yeah. No, I agree. Me too. I mean, I have a business degree. I have a master's degree in business, but I also have a business coach, and I need people to help me, because it's easy to get into the overwhelm. It's easy to get into, I've got all these things to do. And for what happens to me is I kind of just back off and get into denial a little bit. And then I don't wind up doing anything, right? I wind up scrolling through YouTube or whatever. And I need that accountability. And so you provide that for folks that are getting going, getting started, or even folks that are been in business for a while, right? That could use that kind of coaching and accountability.
You're exactly right. If you're going to continue to have a business, your business is going to continually change. But money is a fluid object. It flows, and it runs business, or it takes down business. Money runs your life, or if you don't run your money, it runs your life. So you have to talk about money. You have to talk about business, factual things that are going to affect your day-to-day operation and ability to care for those seniors that you love and want to serve. So absolutely. And you have to be willing to grow, and your business can't grow if you can't grow. It won't grow if you don't grow. So
for sure. Sure.
And it's an interesting thing. I ask myself at least once a day, I'll pass by a mirror in my house and I'll stop and go, I'm making this a habit. I'm a very creative person. I love creating, right? I love creating so much I could get nothing done. I can get nothing finished because it's all about the joy of the ride of creation. That doesn't pay the bills. So I have to stop and check myself and say, and I'm learning this from a business coach, accountability is really hard because you can believe your own truths, but it's easier to believe your own lies. And your own lies are, I was really good today. Man, I got things done. Did you get that bill paid? No, I don't have enough money to do that. It really comes down that simple. I mean, it sounds silly. And when I'm talking to people that I believe are probably much more astute, educated, and accomplished than me that call me for help, we end up talking about the very basic, simple things of whether you are a dreamer, a creator, a stoic numbers person, whatever, it is all some form of a dream. And a dream is a wish deep inside of you. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. 90% of us aren't doing what we're doing because we don't like it. Right. We may say that's true, but when you learn to talk to people and really ask them the right questions, people will realize, you know what? I'm kind of doing this because I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, well, then now let's talk about, if you're good at that, how else does that translate? How's that going to translate into running a business? So you see, you get into some of that really deeper stuff that business owners might not think they need, but they do need it.
Yeah, you're absolutely on point. And it reminds me of like myself. I have a great vision for some big things, but I know this about myself because I'm getting better at self-awareness. I'm great at starting something. So good, right? But I struggle with finishing it. Like I want to start this big thing and move on to the next thing.
You're here.
So I need folks that can come in and help me execute and finish up. And I've learned, that I do need help. I need help from coaches. I need help from people that can actually get some of those things done. So that kind of self-awareness. Hey guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Aveda Go. It's the all-in-one sales and marketing platform for assisted living facilities. It does everything you need, and it's built for homes of 4 beds up to 200 beds. You have got a website builder, a landing page builder, chat widget for your website that you can do all kinds of stuff with. We can man the chat for you. We have people that do that. Or you can set it up to man with your folks. Google Business Messaging, Facebook Messaging, missed call text back. Everything you need to run your business, sales and marketing, is built into Aveda Go. That's spelled AVETAGO. You can find this at alf.avedamarketing.com. All right, listen to what John Darby had to say about Aveda Go. John is the CEO of Torch and the CEO of Mercy House, so he owns and operates assisted living facilities himself, but he says, where else can you get texting, email, phone, website in one platform? I see this as the software of the future for assisted living facilities, setting owners up to scale their business. Folks, if you have an assisted living facility, you need Aveda Go. Go to alf.avedamarketing.com and get it today. That's what you're helping these entrepreneurs and people that are getting into, or folks that have already been in senior living, helping them figure out, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I love it because I'm a teacher at heart. I didn't get my teaching degree. I had a principal ask me one time, offer me a full-time teaching job when my kids were young and I was working part-time at school for the benefits of being on their schedule. And they offered me a job after my second year there. And I was like, Jeanette, did you not ever look at my resume? No, you come highly recommended and your teaching skills are impeccable. And I said, I don't have a degree, Jeanette. And she said, why not? And I said, well, do you remember that game called Life, that board game called Life? And she said, yes. And I said, I saw early on when I picked the teacher route, I made less money than everybody else on the game board. And she said, oh, Cyndi, that's horrible. And I said, but it's true, right? And she goes, yeah, kind of so.
Yeah.
I can't afford to go get my degree to make $37,000 a year. Sorry.
Yep.
But yeah, my smart aleck answer was, people have to learn how to teach. She said, stop it. But anyway, that's my humor. But yeah, you have to find, I always kind of beat myself up because I thought if I have this natural talent for teaching, then why aren't I accomplished at teaching? Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. I had to get help looking at that skill and going, how does that translate into outside the normal boundary of a classroom? Mm-hmm. Well, it does. Consult Cyndi helps people do that. So we educate just like a teacher. A teacher's goal is to teach you how to pull out of yourself what you know how to do and expound upon it.
Yeah.
So you educate, you elevate, and you enhance and enrich that person's ability to be a business owner.
Yeah.
And Mitch, I want to make one more point. In our society, we have come to a place, I believe, I could be wrong. People can argue with me. You have that right. But I see this a lot I've seen it in my own life. It's a trap of, it's always somebody else's fault. I'm stuck in this job because I didn't get a better opportunity. I'm this or I'm that, or I can't do this or that, because it's taking full responsibility and saying, you know what, if I am going to be in business, it's not going to be the bank's fault if I fail. It's not going to be Cyndi's fault if I fail. It's going to be my fault because I didn't do what I was told, or I didn't listen. I didn't check myself. It always comes back to you, and teaching people to take that responsibility. My parents are looking down from heaven right now, by the way, laughing, going, yeah, she finally got it. Submission is not loss of freedom. Submission to patterns and skills and habits and ideals and ethics and different things like that are not meant to imprison you. They're meant to actually set you free to operate. So people I'm finding a lot of people haven't thought about that in their own life. And those are the kinds of things, believe it or not, when I started out doing this business, I thought, yeah, I can tell you how to get licensed, ABC, here we go. But there's a whole lot of conversation and in between the line conversations that happen in order to bring about understanding of why you need to follow a pattern.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, there's an objective path to starting a care home. I mean, you
Exactly.
can put the checklist together, right? Follow it, do everything you're supposed to do. But the real hard work is figuring out, how do I self-sabotage? How do I, what's holding me back, right? What are the fears that keep me from actually doing the things I need to do to be successful?
Yeah. Why can't I talk to that family member and keep them happy? Why do my residents keep moving out? Why do my staff keep turning over? Why don't they like me? Why don't they listen to what I say? My very first time to be an administrator at an assisted living, a 40-bed complex in Central Texas. And yeah, I did a lot of good things. And yeah, we had some good, we really had a good first successful year. We hit our occupancy full by the 12th month. It was amazing, but that was not an easy road. And about halfway through, I had a staff meeting one day and I had everybody come into my small office and we sat on the floor and on boxes and on my desk. And we had the best staff meeting. And I can remember the staff meetings up to that point, people left mad at me. They didn't leave motivated, right?
Yeah.
And that day something changed. And it changed because I went to a mentor and I said, you run great staff meetings. And I'm a type A personality and I don't like to ask the question unless I know the answer. And he said, yes, I know that about you. What do you want? And I said, I want you to tell me how you have such a good relationship with your team. And he started coaching me. And that week, I must have had at least 90% of my staff come in and bring me a cookie or an iced tea or something and say, Cyndi, it's been a great week. Thanks so much for listening the other day. And I thought, I'm not even sure I did, but I must have. So I had to start learning how to wrap my head around my unskills, right? The things that I thought I was good at because I'm cute and funny and I love you and I'm treat you nice and everybody loves me, right? No, everybody doesn't love you.
Hey, that stuff right there is gold. What you just said, like that leading into that whole thing you just said of like, why can't I speak to that family member? Why are people turning over? Why is the staff not happy with me? And I think if the folks listening get one thing out of today's conversation, I'm sure they're going to get a bunch more. But as a leader, when you are going into those staff meetings or when your staff and those families can tell when you're off. They just can. And that negative, whatever's going on in you is passed on to them. And then guess what? The whole energy is that way. Absolutely. So it's like, hey, how do I go in there Monday through Friday to that staff meeting and really project positivity, motivation? It's hard. It's hard.
You cannot. How many times have I heard in staff meetings, don't bring your flat tire to work. The residents don't deserve your bad mood. But you know what? If you're that residential care aide that's sitting at that table, listening to that, and you left a dysfunctional home in the morning because one of the kids was sick and they can't go to daycare and the husband's out of town, or he's mad because the kid's sick and you get yelled at, then you have a flat tire. I mean, it's just a mountain of things. And you don't have the skill to handle that, and you bring that to work with you, and then somebody says, don't do that. You're like, great, I failed again. Right? I mean, it's just not, we have to find better ways of caring for each other. And Mitch, if I can't say this enough, people ask me all the time about their census. How do I get residents? I said, well, you learn to take care of your relationships first. The people you're networking with, what can you do to help them? They're going to send you a referral because they're going to remember you helped them. Don't expect it. Just start planting that seed. three people audience that make or break your business is your staff, your family member, and then your resident.
Yeah.
And to follow that up, it's the network of people that you connect with.
Yeah. I love that. I know you're familiar probably with Zig Ziglar, and he's coined the idea of like, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll end up getting what you want.
It's so
And
true.
Just have that giving, generous nature of, especially like you say, your network, because then especially every care home is local. And so you have to think, that's what I tell my clients when I think digital marketing, it's local. So how do I market this business locally, right? And big part of that is the relationship with hospice networks, home health care, all those folks, right? The placement folks. I mean, you got to know those people, communicate with those people. If you've got 3 beds open, those people should know about it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's, care homes need a lot of help. Residential care homes, big corporate is kind of, they've got the funding and the staffing and the widespread ability to kind of attack that. But the residential care home, the small type Bs, they need a lot of help because they don't have a lot of those resources, and they don't have a lot of they don't have a lot of those skills or places to kind of figure that out. So that's another thing that we do, is we try to help all competitors know that your competitor may in fact be your best referral source if you develop a relationship. True. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's true in any industry, I think. So it's across the board information. Yeah, I just got to take care of people. Somebody told me one time, I was at a crossroads looking at a job opportunity that was a lot of money, but it made a big difference financially in my children's lives. I was a single mom at the time. And or a job at the COG, at the Council of Governments. And I said, it doesn't pay as much money, but oh my gosh, I get excited when I start looking at and then she said, you'll be more committed to that than you will to the one that's just going to be money driven. Get your eyes focused on something. And if you are looking at something in your life where you're going to provide service to creation, then that's probably the best one to choose. And let me tell you, from there, I went to the state, to the Texas Veteran Land Board, to private industry, to nonprofit, to where I am now. And it's been an amazing journey, but not just to my credit. Yes, I have the skills, and I was able to walk through the right doors to help open those skills and develop them. But it was because I was learning to listen. I was learning to listen to somebody else besides me.
Yeah, man, what a skill. What a skill.
Well, I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'll probably get challenged today by the universe for saying that out loud. So
me too. Well, you guys have a pretty cool thing coming up, right? So you have a certified assisted living manager course that's coming up next month, right?
Right.
I'm not sure when I'll air this podcast, but it'll be before your for your event. That's what I want to help you put out there. So tell me a little bit about it and how, tell me about that.
It's exciting. I've thought about this. This goes back to a 30-year-old dream. Okay. When I was in my 30s, I worked at the Texas, it was called DADS then, from Texas Department on Aging. It transitioned into DADS, and I was part of a new group that came into DADS in a very special position. And there's a man by the name of Fred Worley, who was the leading architect, designer there for regulatory at that time. And he's well known across the state for doing life safety code trainings and stuff. He does some for Torch in different places. And I used to walk around. I would get in meetings where Fred was presenting, and my regional operations director would say I would always be quoting something Fred said. Now, Fred didn't know me. Okay. I was a little guy on the totem pole. And I'd get up and leave my booth to go wander around, take a break, and I'd come back, and my boss would say, have you been out stalking Fred again? Because my favorite saying was, when I grow up, I'm going to be just like Fred Worley. I'm going to know all that stuff. And it was kind of a cute little joke around the office. So last year in January, I had the distinct privilege of having lunch with Fred and his wife. And I told him that story, and he just died laughing. But I've been privileged to have worked with people like that. So now we've been working for quite some time behind the scenes on things together. And Fred does a lot of my life safety code for my clients, evaluation visits and feasibility studies. And then I got to meet a couple of other people on his team. So we have finally, this last month, we all came together and I said, I really want to launch a CALM course back here. We come from the days when a lady by the name of Janoyce Wilson, Janoyce, is that her last name? I can't remember. Anyway, she actually was pre-Torch before the John Darby days. And I attended some of her seminars, and Fred and Dottie and Lily Adrian are following in her footsteps. And so I said, I would like to partner with y'all. And they said, amazingly, yes, with no questions. I was shocked. Anyway, excited. But we're going to join together and offer this first course back in this area. It will be by Zoom. We actually have a local hospice group who is, I can't release their name yet, but they are looking in to see if they can offer a remote location. We've had some people call from our flyer that we sent out Monday saying, gee, we'd love to come. We're a small care home. We really don't have the skill or technology to jump on Zoom. Is there going to be a location we could view it? So we've had a couple of hospice places and a rehab offer space for that. So we're excited that's going to happen. It's going to be the 9th, 10th, and 11th. And that team of Fred, Dottie, and Lily will be presenting all the standards for the certification portion. Our course is designed according to the regulatory code of what all content needs to be included, just like Torch does. And we'll have some special speakers on Friday to just kind of bring some color to the long array of going through standards. And so we're excited to be able to offer this. We'll be doing this more in the future, as well as some workshops. And that's all in planning. But I got to tell y'all, it's been in planning for a long time, and it's exciting to see it come. We hope people will receive it and register and come join us.
That's amazing. So tell me, or tell the audience, how can they register for that? Where do I go?
They can they can contact me. I'm going to give you my phone number and my email and my admin assistant email. So 3 ways they can reach us. If they want me to send them a flyer, they can contact me at Cyndi, CYNDI, at carehomeconsulting.com. They can reach me by texting me at 210-284-7921. Or they can reach out to my admin assistant, which is Gwendolyn. It's GWENDOLYN at consultcyndi.com.
Super. And I'll put all that in the show notes as well. So if
Sure.
you're listening, if you're listening to this, folks, look at the show notes and you can see how to get in touch with Cyndi and get registered for the CALM certification. Now, the CALM certification is something that people need to do annually, correct?
They do. So CALM certification, according to the HHSC TAC codes, is, let me make sure everybody understands, it is not a requirement that you must have a certification course to run an assisted living. There are other qualifications, which you need to look in TAC code, what is that, 5? I'm sorry, I don't have that memorized. But anyway, it's under the assisted living standards, and they line out exactly who can run an assisted living. But if you're not a nurse, or you're not, don't have certain qualifications, degrees, or whatever, you've got the experience, related experience, whatever, you can take this certification course and put that certificate on your wall, and the surveyor will ask, what are your credentials? And you can show him that, and he'll go, great, awesome. So that's the reason. They need 24 hours their first time. Okay, so your first certification, it needs to be a 24-hour course, which is what we offer. Then within that, if you are renewing, because you are required to renew those CEs every year, so you would need 12 hours.
Okay.
If you're a new manager and your company says, I don't know if I want to spend the money for the 24, then you are required in the regs. There is a requirement that says within the first 3 months of employment, you must have at least 8 hours of the standard training. So you can do that within our course also. Just register, and we'll make sure your 8 hours count towards that, because you'll need to register for a certain day. And then you'll have all of that met. That means you're going to attend that long portion that Fred, Dottie, and Lily are going to present on the operational standards.
Love it. Okay. Good
And if
deal.
you're just curious, if you don't know that if you think I might want to own a home, or I might want to go into this business, I'm a realtor and I'd like to learn more about how do I need to market myself to people that are looking to buy a property for this, which I'm working with several realtors across the state to educate them about that. That's a little niche for them. Okay. You can register for that 8 hours and not have to do the whole course, because you don't really need all of that. If you want it, you can have it. But if you're a curious George and you just want to know and get your feet wet, I would suggest spending the $155 and register for that small portion, and you'll get a good overview of whether or not you think this is for you or not.
Love it. Okay. And Cyndi, if folks want to reach out to you about coaching, consulting, what's the best and easiest way to do that?
They can text me at that phone number, email me at that email. I can direct them to schedule. They can go right on to my online calendar and just schedule a 30-minute free consult. And that calendar address is calendly.com/care home consulting.
Love it. Okay. Cyndi, this has been a fun conversation. Thank you so much for just your time and your wisdom. And it's just been great.
Mitch, I appreciate your interest and your offer to participate this way. And mark my words, we're going to do some things together. We've got you in our melting pot. We just don't know where you're going to fall out yet. So I'll be reaching out. And
absolutely.
If there's anything else I can do to work with you, let me know. I'd love to.
You bet. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a great one.
Bye-bye. See
Bye.
you.